and welcome in. First ever Monday TRIfecta podcast. We're going to have some fun. This was kind of a brainchild for both of us. We wanted to talk more.
Yeah, this is the pilot episode number 1. Basically, we're just trying to figure out where this is going to go. But the main reason that we want to do this is another opportunity, another platform in which we can cover the local sports. And we can also tackle some pretty cool national sports as they come to us. So,
or other topics that we just like to talk about that you guys may or may not know that we like. But yeah, if you want to join the conversation, we have a new email, mondaytrifecta@keprtv.com. So send us conversation topics or feedback or snide remarks, whatever you really want.
Yeah.
Well, there's a new Twitter, Monday Trifecta. And then if you need to text in to us, 509-531-4742. And then you'll see that on our screen here. So let's just dive right into it.
Yep, let's get right into it. So what we're leading off today is we're talking about the Dust Devils. Tonight is the first half finale out in Vancouver, and it wasn't a great weekend for the Dust Devils. They're currently 0-5 against the Vancouver Canadians, and the Canadians currently in the standings are the worst team in the Northwest League North standings. They're currently 14-23 on the year. Before they went to Vancouver, we talked to Coach Mike McCoy, and he said that one of the things that he was mostly concerned about, Alan, was last year they were kind of in the same position. Vancouver wasn't playing so great, and then they were able to sweep the Dust Devils, and then they were able to catch fire. That was something that they were looking to avoid, but history repeated itself this past weekend.
Yeah, and this kind of how it goes with Summer League. You get guys moving in and out, and you think they're not playing very good. You think that they might not be the team that they are, and then they get hot. They get guys going, and going north of the border or going across the border, you never know. Some guys may not be able to go because of visa issues and stuff like that. So there's times that the Dust Devils or any team will play a little bit shorthanded because, you know, everyone's from all over, international, Venezuela, Dominican, and you don't want to risk the chance of having visa issues or anything like that. So they might be playing a little shorthanded, but also the Dust Devils seem to have kind of gone cold at the wrong time. I mean, they've been pitching really well all year long. Their pitching's been really good. It's just those bats, when you come up with runners in scoring position, haven't been where they need to be, and that's kind of hurt them as of late.
Yeah, piggybacking on what you said, I think at one point of the season they were leading the league in strikeouts. So going back to that fact that you were talking about, the pitching has been absolutely fantastic for the Dust Devils all season. They even had a no-hitter at one point in this season. So pitching really hasn't been the issue. One thing that I've taken away from watching them play is when the bats are alive, they're alive, and they can put multiple runs on the board. But something that really hurts them is base running. And I think we've talked about this in the newsroom multiple times, getting guys in scoring position but not knowing the situation to which they either want to steal or lead off.
Yeah,
and they've been picked off multiple times.
Picked off, not tag up. We've even seen a player miss the base when they're rounding third, and which you don't see. But again, these are first-year pros. Some of them are very young, and they haven't been in these situations with this much at stake. And maybe in the lower leagues where they're growing up, if you miss a bag, no one's going to really say anything. But you're going to get caught. And so it's just kind of also learning to be a pro, and that's a lot of what manager McCoy says a lot, is teaching these players how to be a pro and not taking these little things for granted. So hopefully they've learned kind of in this first half, and there's been some standouts. Matthew Acosta's played really good right out of college, come in swinging the bats really well. Dan Dallas is pitching really well on the mound. Wenhua Sung, my guy, Wenhua Sung, didn't have a very good year last year, but he's part of that pitching staff, that bullpen that's been outstanding. And so there's bright spots. Now, if they could just kind of put these things together and figure this thing out, and, you know, like we said, just keep getting guys on base, but getting them in and not making those mental mistakes, I think they're going to be better off in the second half. But Spokane's been good.
Yeah.
Everett's been good.
I think the top 3 teams really have been duking it out the whole first half.
Yeah.
And then the Dust Devils got cold at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I think they lost 11 of the 15 games towards the back end, and then Spokane went on fire, and they had multiple opportunities. Everett came, and they had a series at home against Everett. They had a series at home against Spokane. They had multiple opportunities in which they could have put themselves in a position. At one point, they were only 1 game back on Spokane, and then they went to Vancouver
well, they were in
and
the
got
lead
swept.
too at one point.
Yeah, and so getting swept in Vancouver, that hurt them tremendously, and they've lost 5 straight. They're 0-5 against the last team. So you can't expect to get a playoff spot and be the best in your division if you can't even beat the worst team in the division.
Right.
And that goes back to learning how to be a pro, learning how to play on the road.
Yeah.
You know, as a fan, you don't really think like, oh, like, does it really matter where you play? For players, it does.
Yeah.
It messes up your routine. Like you said, going up north of the border, you're playing in a different country. Like, you're not playing in the United States, you're actually going to Canada. And like you said, some players might have visa issues. And last week, they came back from Vancouver, and they got in at 5:30.
They've been hopping around a lot. They
Yeah.
went to Vancouver, they came home, they went back to Vancouver, they'll be home, and then they're going to go again. So it's been, they haven't had any, the second half of the first half, they haven't had any consistency. It's been series here, series there, and they've been moving around. But yeah, it's just, it's not ideal, but that's kind of how this goes, and that's why they reset. So after tonight, they reset the standings, and they'll have a second half, and then you literally can wash away what happened in the first half because it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, which is good because, you know, if you're playing in the MLB, you don't have that luxury of, oh, we didn't play well in the first half. We can completely forget about what happened. And I guess that's kind of nice for the young players because you're getting eased into learning how to become a pro, something that you mentioned earlier. And, you know, one of the things that stuck out to me is their players like Jordy Barley. I love the way that Jordy Barley has been playing, but he's also had some struggles with base running. So you just take those lessons that you learned in the first half, all the things that you struggled with, and you can leave them in the past. You literally can just leave them in the first half and know, okay, I didn't do well at this aspect of the game in the first half. That has to change in the second half. And then also, players are coming in and coming out constantly. So that'll be an adjustment for them, and hopefully they'll be able to get over the hump again.
There'll be guys coming. Last year we saw Xavier Edwards, their top pick from that year, come in. And that's the other thing. The Dust Devils haven't had too many really high-end prospects on their roster as of yet, but it could change very rapidly. So I'm going to turn off this Instagram thing, so you guys have to come back and watch the whole thing live. That will drop a little bit later on. So we'll see you then. Okay, so that's good. So where else were we? We were talking about Tri-City, the Dust Devils, and
now we're going to the Dust Devils that have made it up to the Padres.
Right, which is the cool thing. If you've been around and you've been at Giza Stadium in the last 3-4 years, you've seen a lot of guys that are now on the Padres roster. Out of the 25 that are currently on the current 25-man roster of the San Diego Padres, 8 of them have spent time in Tri-Cities. Logan Allen only pitched one appearance, but that still counts. We can still count it as one of our favorite sons. So if we're going through it, it's Eric Lauer, Joey Lucchesi, Adrian Morejon, Andres Munoz. I was saying it right. Munoz. Cal Quantrill, Logan Allen, Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Urias.
The one that jumps off of me is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh, yeah.
The Dust Devils Twitter,
savior.
the Twitter for the Dust Devils have been tweeting about him nonstop, and also the Padres Twitter has been, tweeting about him nonstop. He's had a tremendous year. I think it's really cool that not only do you have a Padres affiliate here in the Tri-Cities, so you have opportunity to see Fernando Tatis Jr. as an 18, 17-year-old come in, but also Everett is the Mariners club system. So you have all these players that are coming in throughout the whole entire year. Alan, you've been here for 3 years, so some of these guys you've actually been able to see and cover.
Well, just talking about that, George Kirby made his second pro start here just the other weekend against the Dust Devils for the Mariners affiliate in Everett. But yeah, it's been really cool to see. I came in, my first year was 2016, so that was the Eric Lauer, Joey Lucchesi year with Cal Quantrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Luis. So that team itself had 5. Is that I just named off 5 people?
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then Adrian Morejon was here 2 years ago in 2017. The lefty, they paid a lot of money, international money for him. I think it was like $10, $11 million. He made 6 starts and then was out. And he was just striking out people. He had a lot of strikeouts. His command was a little bit all over the place when he was here, but that's what you get. Yeah. So now he just made his first career pro appearance yesterday. So he's moving on, and I doubt this is going to be the last of it. We also have Munoz, like we said. He's a flamethrower. They clocked him at 102 a few times in his first appearance. He was at 102, and then I heard through the grapevine that he's been clocked at 104 in Arizona. Yeah, that's really fast.
I went to the batting cage like a month ago and had it at 60, and I literally couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
And like the kid that was here from the Mariners, he was clocking at around 97.
Yeah, 97.
Can you imagine? And that guy is, and who is it?
Andres
is throwing 104. That's 7 miles per hour more than the first-round pick for the Mariners. Like, that's some serious heat that he's packing.
And that is going to be a weapon out of the bullpen for the Padres if, they use him and he still stays up there and he keeps getting it done. 8 of them. 8 out of 25. That is some pedigree. And there's more coming. They have a lot of talent, especially in the middle infield. Owen Miller was here last year. He's been moving up. He was in Double-A last I saw. So they just have the train going. The Padres have something working here with their young prospects. Now it's just about how many will stay in the system and how many will make it to the show and how many do they use as chips to get their major league team a little bit more competitive. The NL West is the NL West, and you have the Dodgers, you have the Giants, you have the Rockies, you have the Diamondbacks, and I think I said all of them.
Yeah, but it's the blueprint that the Kansas City Royals have used that got them a World Series. Now they're irrelevant. But it's the perfect blueprint I've seen is the Houston Astros, is where they sucked for a bunch of years, accumulated all this talent, allowed them to play together, build that team chemistry, and then they won a World Series 2 years ago, and they always seem to be in contention. It seems like the Padres are doing that same thing. Their best player is obviously Manny Machado. Brought him in, gave him that huge fat contract. So you have that face of the franchise, and whether you agree with some of his antics and building that culture, you are going to build a culture with your young core. So they seem to be doing the same thing that the Astros and the Kansas City Royals did, in that they are bringing in all these young talent and allowing them to play together. Because that's another thing, and we'll get into that with the Sweets in a little bit, is team chemistry is everything. And if you throw a little chink into that armor that is the team chemistry, it can allow problems to come in the inside and then build and build and build. So I think the Padres are setting themselves up nicely, and it's very cool that the Dust Devils, it seems that the players that are in the facility playing over at Giesa Stadium are getting the experience that they need that is going to elevate them to get to that MLB level.
On that, though, there hasn't been a lot of movement yet with the Dust Devils. There's Tyler Benson's moved on, and then Colin Dana has moved on. But that's it who's moved up to Fort Wayne. And then actually there was one other player went up to Lake Elsinore. But there hasn't been that much movement. There hasn't been anybody moving down. It's just kind of been status quo as of now. They've been adding people to the Dust Devils. But I imagine there'll be some more movement. A lot of movement will happen with the All-Star break coming up. But yeah, there's only been a couple guys, 2 or 3 guys that have moved up and moved around. So it'll be interesting to see what the Dust Devils roster kind of looks in a couple weeks. But now let's transition to college now, because we keep going and we're going to talk Sweets now, and they're actually in their All-Star break, whereas Northwest League their All-Star break's coming a little bit later. And the Sweets got off to a great start. They were fantastic.
I think they won 10 games in a row, right?
And then my mic drop.
Mic drop on the 10-0 start for the Walla Sweets, and then it literally started to fall after that 10-0 start.
Kind of falling off. They were right there for the first half bid. And then they lost a couple games late, and they didn't get it done. But now they've started 2-6 in the second half, which already puts them behind the 8 ball, because Corvallis, they got swept by Corvallis. And that's the team that's in first with Southridge's own Jake Harvey. So good for him. And so if Corvallis goes in the playoffs, we'll be rooting for Jake Harvey. But the Sweets had an opportunity. If they could go and get 2 out of 3, they'd be right in it. They'd be at 3 games back, 2-3 games back. But they're just not seem to clicking. And I was saying, so summer baseball, it's like you get your guys in there. Early on, there's guys trickling in, they're coming in late. But as a coaching staff or whatever, you promise certain guys X amount of innings or X amount of playing time or at bats. So you have to get those guys game time. But maybe that doesn't necessarily mean that is the best team day in and day out to get you wins. But summer league is just as much about developing players as it is wins and losses.
And you had a very cool opportunity in which you signed a one-day contract with the Sweets to begin with. And so you were there, you saw the team chemistry in the beginning of the year, and I think that's one of the main reasons that they had the success that they did, is because they were all hanging out. They all really enjoyed each other's company. Not saying that the new guys aren't fitting in. I'm just saying that those guys in the beginning had that team chemistry, started out 10-0, were on a roll, and like you said, new players come in as college season ends and stuff like that. I think another thing that has hurt the Sweets is that the bats were crazy to begin the season with. It was like the Mariners in that they were putting up double-digit runs and beating guys like 11-8. The problem with that is the baseball season is so long, and baseball is notoriously known for players going into slumps, and that you can't depend on the bats. So there'll be games where they win 12-9, 13-10 or whatever, but then when the bats aren't alive, they need to be able to back it up with their defense to keep them in those kind of games. And I saw after that 10-game stretch, the bats kind of, it's not like they went into any slump, it's just they weren't scoring 10, 11, 12 runs.
They were just going back to like a 3-run, 4 or 5-run game.
And then they weren't able to really keep guys from coming home and scoring runs.
I also think that's what we were talking about, the Sweets. So, like Corvallis, when you start the year, when they were here to start the season, they didn't have any of their Oregon State guys. And Oregon State is a powerhouse program year in, year out. And so when those guys start coming into Corvallis, then they get better, right? And so the other teams are getting better too. And so I think things just kind of evened out, whereas maybe the Sweets had a lot of more talent early on, and then everyone else came in and kind of the stadium, the standings and the teams kind of balanced out. But they still have a chance. I mean, they're 2-6. So even because the thing is with the first half, second half, and same with Northwest League, if Corvallis wins again, the first place, they can't take both playoff bids, right? Because you can't play yourself. I mean, you probably could. They probably could go put 9 guys on one side, 9 guys on the other one. But so it'll go to the second place team. So, or the team that has the most wins overall the whole year. I believe I'm like 98% positive. So if I'm wrong, tell me. But I'm almost 98% positive. So if the Sweets then can finish in second, get on a roll here, and finish in second behind Corvallis, or even win it. This is a hypothetical where they didn't win it. But if they were in second and they had the most wins overall, then they would get that playoff bid. So there's still a lot to play for. The Pickles are 7-2. The Black Bears, who are not good in the first half, are 8-4. The Raptors, great name, Richfield, they're a brand new expansion. They're 4-6. And then you have the Sweets, and then you have the Bend Elks, who are 2-10, and they're probably not going to do anything special here. So, but they got a lot to play for, and that's a great ballpark. Borleski, great ballpark.
Yeah, historic Borleski Stadium.
Historic.
Yeah,
that is great.
And like you said, like Corvallis, they got all their guys, and then towards the end of the first half, I think they won 14 games in a row.
Yeah.
So the Sweets open up with 10 wins in a row. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Corvallis finished with like a 14-game win streak. Now it's important because, you know, in the beginning, the first team to come to historic Borleski Stadium was Corvallis, and the Sweets swept them. Yeah. And so that confidence already is high because Corvallis is one of the best teams in the league.
3-time defending champs.
Yeah, like the Golden State Warriors. I don't want to push any buttons there because I know you're a Warriors fan. You guys had a rough offseason. But at this point, you know,
they'll be fine.
Take the All-Star break. You know, get a rest. They have 4 players going to the All-Star game. Patrick Caulfield, Justin Foles. They have 2 pitchers as well, and so.
Sebi.
Take the All-Star break to, you know, regroup, come back. You are currently 5 games back on Corvallis. You kind of dug yourself into a little bit of a hole, but don't think of it as we're 5 games back. Think of it as 1 game at a time. Start chipping it away at it slowly. That's what Corvallis did, and then they got on a hot streak and won 14, 15, whatever games.
And then, like I said, you don't really need to get to first. You just need to get to second.
And then your competition is the Portland Pickles and the Black Bears.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Because even if Corvallis wins, let them win. It doesn't matter overall. So they got that going. Tonight, Pat Caulfield is in the Home Run Derby for the West Coast League. So that would be cool. We'll see how he does.
He's probably going to do great because he, in my opinion, he has been the MVP for the wall-to-wall sweeps in the first half. He's done tremendous. Congratulations to him. He also signed to play at UCLA.
UCLA.
Had an opportunity to talk with him about that earlier, and he's super excited. And it's been a real cool story of seeing him go from, you know, lower programs and then to be able to sign with UCLA Bruins. That's really cool.
He's a Bay Area kid too, I believe. I think he went to, if I'm correct, he went to Sarah High School.
Okay.
Sarah High School. Who are the 2 greatest athletes to come out of Sarah High School?
At San Francisco.
Some Bay Area, San Mateo-ish.
I have no idea.
Barry Bonds and Tom Brady both came out of the same high school at Sarah High School. So that's pretty good. I mean, if you have, there's a lot of
you know, controversy around those 2 guys,
but they're arguably, I don't know if you cannot say they're top 10 best. I mean, Tom Brady's arguably the best of all time. And Barry Bonds has got to be top 10. I don't know where.
Even before the whole steroid thing, Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer.
They went to the same high school. So that's what I'm talking
That's
about. Same high school.
Crazy.
So now let's do a little weekend recap because this is Monday TRIfecta. So there's a lot to get onto the weekend. And we had Edgar Martinez going to the Hall. We had the Open Championship, which I was huge on. I'm a big golfer. And we had Phase 4 of Marvel.
Yeah. So we'll start with Edgar Martinez just because local guy, probably one of the most beloved Seattle Mariners, and the Mariners are going through yet another rough season, and so to be able to have
they'll be in the playoffs.
Just remembering those 13 and 2 days. Those 13 and 2 days. I'm so excited. But Edgar Martinez goes into the Hall. My takeaway from his speech, I don't know if you were able to listen to his speech, but he just thanked everybody.
Yeah.
He literally thanked every single person. It was his day. He totally could have gone up there and just talked about all the things that he was grateful for in his career, but he went up there and just thanked everybody in his life that helped him get up until that point. That was really cool.
I mean, he'd been waiting for so long, and this was his last year on the ballot.
Yeah.
So if he didn't get in, it was going to be a harder task for him to get in. But everyone thought he was going to get in, and he did get in, and it was a great scene. It's someone I saw tweeted that everyone thought that there was going to be a lot of Mariano Rivera fans out there, but there was just a lot of Seattle Mariners fans out there for Edgar Martinez. So that was cool to see them show up. They don't always have a lot to cheer for. They won't probably for the second half, especially deadline is the 31st, so their team's going to change. So it was good for Mariners fans to have something to say, hey man, this was cool. This was something we've been wanting, and let's get the greatest DH into the Hall of Fame. I mean,
there's really nobody other than him.
The DH award is named
DH.
after.
Yeah.
So
he had 309 home runs, eclipsed 2,000 hits. The fact that he didn't get in earlier, I thought was kind of a travesty. But we also had history this year.
The Baseball Hall of Fame is a travesty in general. I mean, if we're going to really get on it, but there's going to be a lot of people that aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be in the Hall of Fame just because of
the fact that Ken Griffey Jr. wasn't a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, because somebody didn't
want to. But we also had history this year in that Mariano Rivera was the first ever unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. I know there was a lot of controversy surrounding that. People didn't think that he should be the one that should have been the first unanimous. But it all comes down to politics. It's like back in 2012 or 13, I think we've talked about this. LeBron James clearly was the MVP of the NBA that season, but there was the one writer in New York who gave it to Carmelo Anthony. I feel like that is what baseball Hall of Fame voting has become. They have built this culture that this has never happened before, so no one should do it. And then it actually happened. And
I mean, Mariano Rivera is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. He's the greatest closer of all time, and it's not even close.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think of a player and you're like, oh, he's a Hall of Famer, then why isn't everyone saying that he's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's, now it'll be a lot of people that are unanimous Hall of Famers, but I think it's fitting. He was going to go in the Hall of Fame. He should have been in there, but like I said, I can get on this topic because, I'm from the Bay Area, and so if Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens don't get in the Hall of Fame, it's going to be, it's just omitting so much of the game that, and the Baseball Hall of Fame is really just a museum to celebrate great players in the game. And there's controversy of them. Yeah, there's steroids, but the steroid era saved the game of baseball.
Yeah, it really did.
It's not. Some people don't agree with it, but really, their viewership, everything was going down. So something had to change, and it changed. And we'll see what happens. There's still some years left, but we can't talk about this forever.
Yeah. we could go in on all the Hall of Fames, to be honest. All the Hall of Fames are super petty. Yeah. But also this weekend, you want to talk briefly on the British Open?
Shane Lowry, good job, man. The weather on Sunday was a nightmare. Gusts of wind, 30 mile an hour. It was pouring. I can't even play golf when it's perfect outside, and they were just struggling. I felt better because J.B. Holmes came into the day at 10 under, and at one point, I don't know where he finished because I just was like, at this point, I know Shane Lowry's going to win. But he's back to even. He lost 10 strokes yesterday. That's like what I do on 9 holes.
On a 90-degree clear sky.
Yeah, I feel like, hey, they're human. So that was that. It was really cool. Shane Lowry also, he's from Ireland, so that was cool that he won in his home country. So
and on Saturday, Brooks Koepka even was talking about he needed to find some advantage in some way because the weather was being predicted to be so bad. And golf is one of those sports. I don't play golf. I play mini golf because if I actually
It's
go
easy.
out and try to hit one off the tee, it goes. There's video somewhere of me
we'll
not
find it.
being
We'll
able
dig
to
that
do it.
up.
But yeah, the weather was crazy. British Opens, and then also something that we're kind of, I guess we could say we're passionate about. And like this is gonna be kind of like the fun part of the podcast is that the very historic San Diego Comic-Con took place this weekend, and Phase 4 of Marvel was released.
So everyone out there, if you don't know, there's been phases for this Marvel universe that has taken over the world, that takes over my life at times. And so we just finished Phase 3, which was actually, I believe the last part of Phase 3 was Far From Home, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Was the last one. Endgame was the second to last. Endgame really felt like it was the end, and actually Far From Home felt like the beginning of Phase 4. But in their little, how they bookend it, that was the end. So now Phase 4 is happening. And the first movie is Scarlet Witch, or not
Black Widow.
Sorry, Black
Scarlett
Widow.
Johansson.
Scarlett
Black
Johansson.
Widow.
Black
Yeah.
Widow. So it's a standalone, so that'll be cool. And then they also, what I'm really excited, Disney Plus is going to be like Netflix for Disney.
But it's going to be like the greatest thing of all time.
Yeah, because they're taking, Netflix is going to get screwed here.
Yeah,
They're going to
Netflix
take
is
all of
pissed.
Disney's stuff, Marvel, Disney, and taking it off there. It's going to go to Disney Plus, so I'm definitely going to buy Disney Plus. But there's going to be a Loki series. There's going to be.
I'm not excited about the WandaVision one. I didn't like that relationship in Infinity War where they had Wanda and Vision and a relationship. But they're gonna have their own show. The What If. I'm kind of interested about that one because like
the What If what if I saw like what if what's Captain America
Peggy Carter.
Yeah, if she was Captain America or something like that. Like I saw that. So that'd be cool because it'd be an alternate reality, I guess. And I think those would probably be episodic, like 30-minute shows. Who knows? I don't actually know any of the stuff. But yeah, we got to wait till 2020. So it'll go Black Widow, The Eternals, which if you don't know anything about that, that's kind of like the gods.
It's like in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Peter Quill's dad was an Eternal.
Yeah.
He was like the god or whatever. And so they'll get kind of into that aspect of the heroes.
So,
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
What are you most excited for?
So we have a list, and
because we gotta have notes just in case we mess something up.
we forget a lot of stuff. And so off the list, the Doctor Strange movie.
It's gonna be first horror movie.
It's called In the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Which is going to be.
Movie.
I don't like horror movies, but it's Marvel, so I think that just like compensates.
Yeah, I'll probably see
Black
it too.
Panther 2 probably is the movie I'm most excited for.
That's
they
not even
didn't
on the
like
list.
announce
He's just
it,
making things up.
but like Kevin Feige at the end was like, "Hey, we're going to have Black Panther 2." Blade, they also.
Yeah, that was the surprise. Blade with Ali.
Yeah, a two-time Academy Award actor who I think is going to do
Great
a tremendous
things.
job. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Natalie Portman's back, everybody.
And she's gonna be Thor, apparently. I don't know if you read the report, but like she wielded the hammer at Comic-Con, and then like there was all these articles about like Natalie Portman becoming the female Thor.
Well, yeah, because
and
I think
instantly I
there's
just
a comic.
went.
There's a comic thing that goes with it. It's not like they're just making it up out of thin air, but it also makes sense because Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which they've kind of did they talk about that?
Yeah, they kind of also what's the name of the director? Peter Gunn or something like that. He was like fired. He did the first two. He was fired. There's a bunch of controversy. He went to DC. He's going to direct Suicide Squad or whatever. And then Marvel called him and like, hey, we're going to hire you back. So they teased that in Endgame. Spoiler if you haven't seen Endgame. Like Thor goes on the ship.
If you haven't seen it and you're not, there's no point now. There's spoilers. We're talking about it. We got
but Thor went on the ship with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and so they kind of teased that they're going to be together.
Yeah, so we don't know. One of the
announced-
stories, we don't know if Thor is going to be in Thor 4. Is it 4? Yeah, Thor 4.
Well, I think they are because Hemsworth was there.
Yeah, but people are speculating they don't know how big the role is.
Oh, yeah.
Because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out after.
After Thor 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because it's after the Love and Thunder. So, who knows? If you have Marvel questions, send them our way. If you got Marvel insight,
yeah. If we have any like
too.
Marvel insiders, you have like information that like not even.
We should do a
Kevin Feige
power
has.
rankings of best Marvel player.
Like the movies.
No.
Or like the
favorite characters, top characters. Not even
off the
like
top of your head. Give me a top 3
for my favorite characters.
Your favorite.
Well, I really like Iron Man. Iron Man's sweet. Are we including X-Men?
Yeah, because Disney bought them from Fox, so now they're part of the Marvel family.
I really like Cyclops. I was always big. Oh, Gambit was also a really sick one. But if the Avengers, my top 3 Avengers, original Avengers, would probably be Iron Man, Thor, and I don't know, Captain America, I guess.
Didn't say that with a lot of enthusiasm. It's just kind of like
I know.
Captain America.
I mean, everyone loves him. He's got America's butt.
I don't think that's the term they use, but for this
our
podcast,
because I don't know what it's rated.
Yeah,
we're
I think it's
keep
rated.
It clean.
We're gonna keep
and
it PG
for all you people out there.
But yeah, Marvel is Marvel, DC and Universal. I love all their comics, but like film-wise, they're not even close. So another Phase 4 was released this weekend. We'll probably get into it in another podcast, talking about what we think about and stuff.
Well, let's wrap this one
Russell
up, though,
Wilson.
because that's Russell Wilson. That's our new addition. We got Charlie Blackman. We got Kirby, the Giants uniform. This is from Gilroy, California. The great Gilroy, California.
Nice.
And then, oh gosh, why is Batman's name escaping me?
Adam West.
Yeah, Adam West. That is Adam West from last year's Adam West night at Walla Walla Suites. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. Again, if you want to get at us, join the conversation, at Monday Trifecta, Twitter, Monday Trifecta at keepertv.com, email, and then phone number, you'll see it on our screen, 509-531-4742. Text us what you want or how we're doing, or just say hi. But till next week, Mick.
Yep, the DMs are always open. For Alan Hoshida, I'm Myck Miller. Thanks for tuning in to the Monday Trifecta podcast. We will see you
later
next Monday.